Good evening, race fans, and welcome back to the CIL, the Collegiate iRacing League, for tonight, the GT3 Challenge, as we head out to Spa. Beautiful racetrack here on iRacing, one of the best, in my opinion, and it should be a good one for round 6 out of 7. Closing in on the end of this spring 2022 season, and joining me, it's a whole host of people up in the booth here tonight. And first of all, Matthew Nordberg joining as well. So, Matt, welcome back, and good to talk to you.
Yeah, great to be here, Jarrett. Looking forward to a great race tonight here at this, legendary racetrack, Spa-Francorchamps. Fantastic track with a lot of long straights, great opportunities for overtaking down into Lacombe at the end of the Kimmel Straight, as well as the backstretch for the bus stop chicane. So looking forward to some great actions around a lot of these legendary corners. Looking forward to seeing how these drivers can navigate through them and hopefully stay out of trouble at a lot of these high-speed corners where especially in the first lap, cold tires could lead to some trouble. A really tricky corner. You might see a spin or two at the top of the hill, so that's something to look out for. Possibly another full course yellow coming up at the if there's a bit of a jam there. So, going to be an exciting race tonight.
Yeah, you can say that again. There's a reason why F1 comes here every year, and Spa always creates a good set of action. Every single corner is a nice, diverse set of corners. There's a hairpin of La Source and some nice sweeping corners in Pouan and the campus chicane, and there's high speed kinks in Radillon, Eau Rouge, Blanchimont that really challenges the drivers and challenges the engineers when they're crafting their setups.
Yeah, and so this season, we definitely have some changes within the season. If you've been watching us here on the CIL, a couple of them are going to be, we've split up the season or the races into two different races. So we normally have our qualifying, and then we have two different stages. So how that's going to work is we're going to have our qualifying session, and then once we finish that first race, that first stage, we're going to take the top 12 and invert the field. So those top 12 go to the back of the field, first going to last, and then it continues all the way up. And then whoever's was 13th will then lead the pack as first. As well as if you switch cars between races, between weeks, you will be taking an EOL, which we've seen quite a lot, and I believe we've seen Sean Campbell do every week.
Interesting tactic from Sean. I think he knows he has the pace. I think he's been quick every single week. So I think he decides to pick a different car, either to specialize on the track we're at, or just for the hell of it. We know he's fast. He knows he's fast, so probably just to have some fun.
Yeah, I definitely think he's trying to kind of make a bit of difficulty for him. I'm seeing kind of what he can do. So he's starting at the back essentially every time, and seeing if he can kind of work his way all the way up to the front, and then kind of get all the way set back again, almost making it a bit of a challenge for him. Kind of, dancing up the field a little bit for him.
Yeah, Christian, you make a great point there about Sean's tactics there as we ride with Alexander Klink. He was last week's race 1 winner. Took advantage of Sean Campbell starting in the back, pulled away to take the win for race 1. So coming to the start-finish line here, looking like he's going to start his first qualifying lap of the night. Christian?
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. This is pretty good for Alexander Klink. Looking like a clean lap. You have to watch those corners there as you're coming out of that. You don't want to get an off track. I don't believe you can get an off track there if you go too far out, but if all 4 of those tires go off, I believe even all 3 of them go off onto the track on that yellow or past that white line, you're going to end up taking that off course. Same thing with there. You have to time that on Eau Rouge pretty cleanly. Jarrett?
Yeah, so right now you're seeing the alumni qualify. You'll see both alumni and students on track here tonight. As the scores come in on the left side of your screen, you'll notice a little red tick mark next to the alumni drivers. That matches up with their windshield banner and spoilers, and then a green tick mark on all the student drivers. That again matches up with that windshield banner and spoilers. So if you're curious what those mean over the course of the night, that is the split as we head toward the end of alumni qualifying. They're out there for the first 10 minutes, and we'll be out there for the students here in just about 6 minutes or so real time. But yeah, mentioned 2 weeks ago, results: Alexander Clank, Sean Campbell, Avery Walker, your top 3 in race number 1. And in race number 2, Sean Campbell, Justin Roberts, and Nick Daly, your top 3. A couple drivers' names we won't see tonight that we just rattled off in those top 3. And a big battle in points from 10th back to 14th. Nicholas Patinella, Austin DeLong, and Thomas Crump involved in those as well. But Sean Campbell, you guys mentioned his name a few times. Very quick driver, and he provides some of the setups here for these guys tonight. So no competitive advantage for Sean. He's just rocking and rolling, and he's all the way up to a 67-point lead on second place here 6 weeks in. But keep in mind, they do drop the worst finish here in the CIL, so that points battle will get closer. But back there in second, Kyle Bonin needs to have a good race tonight, and I think he might be able to do it here at Spa. Guys?
Yeah, Sean, he has had a few rough weeks. Specifically one, he ended up losing out to internet. That was the week before Watkins Glen. He did decently well on Watkins Glen, was able to kind of squeeze through some of those crashes there. But and he did phenomenal at Imola. But tonight's going to be a bit different. I feel like we have a bit of a smaller pack tonight. Not as many as some of the recent weeks, but definitely some pretty strong drivers out there with Sean, Kyle, a couple other drivers. Cohen Evans, Austin DeLong, Evan Puckett, and Thomas Toomey, who's always kind of just at the top and kind of has popped his way into a few of them, but definitely kind of gets caught up in some altercations every once in a while that may or may not be his fault, But kind of, we'll see what happens. I think it'll be an interesting race tonight.
Yeah, I think a lot of the tracks that we've been going to, it's been a bit unfortunate to get caught up in some of these wrecks. I know back at Detroit, Sean was involved in a few wrecks that weren't his fault, just due to taking that EOL penalty, like we mentioned earlier, where Sean's been running that tactic all season, changing the cars that best suit to the track, knowing that if he can't get quite to the lead in race 1, he has another chance to make up some more points in race 2. But as we look at an empty track right now, getting some information from race control about some end of line penalties tonight. We've been talking about Sean Campbell. He's going for that strategy again tonight, where he's going to be taking different cars, so he will be going to the end of the line following qualifying. We also have Thomas Toomey, changed cars, fast driver, so we should expect to see him making their way through the field quickly, and hopefully we get to see some cars out on track pretty soon as alumni qualifying finishes up here in the next minute or so.
Yeah, and you said it right there, Matt. The student's going to head on out, and it is group qualifying, so everyone going to go out on track at once, and I'll turn it over to you, John. Do you think there's going to be any strategy here in the qualifying with Spa being such a big track, plenty of drafting opportunities? Will we see guys try and work together, especially the Clemson drivers, I think, come to mind as well? What do you think?
Yeah, the Orange Wheel Gang, I definitely think they're going to try to do some teamwork. You see it in F1 with the draft trains, but of course the GT3 cars, they're not so aerodynamically dependent compared to an F1 car, but we have those aerodynamic changes. But we have that massive straight from either Radion to Lacombe or La Source to Lacombe, depends on how you think. But definitely there's going to be some draft trains, some teamwork happening here. Because right after you reach Lacombe, you're in a lot of high downforce corners, a lot of corners where you need that grip. So being behind a teammate can really sacrifice some lap time.
Yeah, and I think you mentioned it with that different setups about having higher downforce in maybe the middle sector of this track, and then the first sector and the last sector, they're pretty much two straights, ended by a chicane at the end of each of those straights. So I think setup choices tonight is going to be very important for some of the drivers, especially considering the changes in the GT3 package recently with iRacing Season 2 update. Tire model's a little bit different. The tires behave a bit more friendly on the edge of grip, from my experience, especially at places like Sebring, Turn 1. I feel like you can really control the car a little bit more there compared to previous seasons, where before it felt like you just stepped over the line a little bit and maybe you're in the wall at Turn 1 in Sebring. But it's going to be interesting at a track like this, known for its high-speed corners, Eau Rouge, Radeon, Blanchimont, Pouan. Those are all super fast, high-speed corners, edge of grip stuff where I think these drivers are really going to take advantage of this new tire model on these GT3 cars.
Yeah, certainly. But in those updates, they also introduced aerodynamic stall, so you can't run the ride height too close to the ground, or else you'll stall the floor and lose that downforce you've created. So I know tracks such as Belle Isle or Sebring with all those bumps, that can be an issue. So you might want to run some additional ride height. But with how smooth Spa-Francorchamps is, that probably won't be an issue. So I think we could definitely see some interesting high downforce strategies. But with that long back front straight with long camel straight, I think there could be one or two people that try that low downforce to just breeze by people in the straight.
Yeah, John, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you there. I think the overpowering straight line speed might be the name of the game tonight, as we finally see some students come out on the track. Ryan Whitlock coming out on the track, going through Eau Rouge now in his Lamborghini. Ryan, one of our onboard cameras tonight, goes to University of Alabama at Huntsville, graduating in the spring of 2024. Currently affiliated with the Charger Motorsports at UAH, where he's a founding member there. And he also races short track in real life. So the 7-kilometer circuit of Spa-Francorchamps a bit far off from the the short tracks of Alabama, but definitely looking forward to seeing what Ryan can do tonight in his Lambo.
Yeah, and Matt, Ryan, an interesting driver here. He's been very up and down. We've seen Ryan challenge for the lead. We've seen him faster than the likes of Santi Perez. We saw him actually taken out by the ghost of Santiago Perez back there at Detroit. But yeah, Ryan's been very up and down, and that's kind of been the theme of his season, is getting up to that top 5 and not being able to make that push into that top 3, that top 2. And with a field like we have tonight might be the night to do it. Big flowy track like Spa, and he's able to get it right here tonight. So pay attention, Charger Motorsports fans out there. I think Ryan Whitlock is going to have himself a good night here. Also, with another onboard camera here tonight is Evan Puckett from Ball State Esports. You can see the number 35 machine on your screen now, and a good look at Evan Puckett in that Ball State Esports room. Good looking room right there, and ever growing is that esports program at Ball State, so very cool to see. But Evan, we mentioned it, a media and marketing management major. He's graduating next spring, 2023. So while we have a bunch of people graduating this spring, Evan Puckett will be around for one more year of the CIL, and he is part, we mentioned, that Ball State esports program that is quickly growing in notoriety and driver skill. So we'll see how he ends up here tonight. John?
Yeah, I'm looking through the field. I don't think Ryan. You have Kyle Bonin sitting right behind him as we come into Radeon now. Seems like he might get that draft as we start getting some hot laps in the qualifying session. Just looking kind of through it, seems like most of them are pretty fair paced. Cohen Evans really getting right behind him, but I think he checked out behind Hagen Johnson as well. So yeah, I think he had to check out just because he knew that his lap was sacrificed. So we already see that kind of qualifying strategy start here.
So students on track will get about 10 minutes of qualifying time, 12 minutes in total, but that will include that out lap as well. So about 12 minutes when all is said and done. And you can see it right here, getting just enough space to be able to get in that draft, but not upset the car as well. As we see qualifying well underway here, left side of your screen now, you'll see those qualifying times come rolling on in as we're through 13 and a half of 22 minutes of qualifying. Only George Nimmer has set a time here. Christian?
Yeah, I was just kind of looking through all these cars, and you see a lot of Porsches tonight, as we usually see. I feel like we see a lot of Porsches because in the previous few seasons of iRacing, the Porsches kind of dominated the field. Less so each season. I feel like the Porsche gets less and less strong. especially with some of these updates. But specifically, and I'm surprised not a lot of people are driving them, but the Lamborghini and the Audi here are tonight are supposedly pretty powerful here. As stated by I'm going to quote Sean Campbell. He said they're pretty powerful. They're probably one of the best cars. I do not recall of what exactly Sean is running tonight. He will be running the Lamborghini, yeah. So, kind of shocked to see some of these Porsches, but I mean, you don't want to get an EOL now, do you? Jared?
Yeah, not at all. So let's take you through a lap here at Spa on board with Sean Campbell, the CIL's current points leader. You're going to get all the way out to the left side, look into this apex. It's a tough one to get really tight to that wall, drifted on wide, and mentioned it earlier, plenty of room on that left side. Bringing on up to one of the possibly scariest parts of the track for this field here tonight. That's E Rouge. As you go up the hill, get a little bit of curb right there, and good job by Sean. Just use just enough of curb. That curb on the left side can upset the car, and that's where we'll see a wreck if we do see one, is someone getting just a little too much curb on the left side and into these high-speed corners that Matthew Nordberg talked about. Downshift once, twice, and get right back on throttle. In the GT3 cars, little more grip than they previously had, so we'll see guys, once those tires are completely hot, be able to really whip through those corners. One of the slower corners on the track. Very patient on the throttle is Sean Campbell. Great job right there, tracking all the way back out to the left side, and he might have a little bit of Clemson traffic in front of him. We'll see if they make way or if they try and go too wide here. Looks like the 23 machine will make way, and that's Andrew Williams giving way to Sean Campbell. And you can hear how quickly he's back on the throttle right there. Excellent exit on this corner. Sean Campbell having a very good run. And again, these high-speed corners, it's going to be tough to pass through here. And I think guys might get runs, and you might be tempted, but you got to find your spot and play very strategically. And I think that's what's most fun about this track, is every corner is, in theory, a passing zone, but maybe not the best place, and you just kind of pick and choose your spots, especially with these long straightaways as we head through the final couple of corners here. You're going to see Sean track all the way to the left side there and then turn it on in. We'll see. He is flat out indeed. It'll make that car stick pretty nicely. Look for that 100 board on the left. There it is. Turn it on in. Get a little bit of curbing right there on both sides, and very tricky on this last corner as well. The car will want to step out on you as you track out toward those rumble strips on the right side. Sean doing an excellent job of it, and that's pole position here in the CIL. Matt?
Yeah, that was a fantastic lap from Sean there. Car looked planted the entire time, and you mentioned out of the corner of the bus stop chicane at the end of the lap. It's very easy to lose the rear end there. You get a little bit of wheel spin. You can definitely step the back end of the car out. And, Sean, he was just planted the entire lap. And I think that's one of the reasons why, Sean is up there as our points leader this season so far. He drives very smooth, but very precise and very controlled, which is definitely a big advantage in not only the speed of these GT3 cars, but saving tires. It can be difficult to save tires a bit with the ABS, where if you start locking or if you start activating the ABS, sometimes you get some extra tire heating, which can wear the tires a bit more. But just a great lap overall from Sean as we ride with Evan Puckett of Ball State coming through, it looks like, in the start of the third sector. Pretty clean lap from him so far. 2 personal bests in the first 2 sectors, and not quite a personal best in the third. But this last part of the track is where, you can make a big amount of time here. Christian?
Yeah, just currently watching some of these drivers. I was about to comment on their top speeds, but I believe my overlay is not currently working, as it says Sean Campbell did a 258 mile an hour top speed. So I'm not going to rely on that. Definitely have some issues with that, but doing a pretty good job through here. Currently watching, again, Sean Campbell. Let's switch over to Kyle Bonin really quick to see where he's doing. Not too bad. Currently going through the course, doing decently well. His last lap was a 2:16, position 3 currently, just with Hagen Johnson right above him with a 2:16.4, Kyle Bonin with a 2:16.7, and then Sean with a 2:16.0. So all drivers doing pretty well. But we'll have to see what Kyle Bonin does currently. He's taking the last corner through the last chicane, which is definitely a tricky one. Trying to get through there, possibly first or second, depending on what you do, or what car you're driving, I would say. And a last lap, he does not improve, I don't believe. Actually, I think he had an off track, so it didn't count. John?
Yeah, I was watching his Kyle Bonin's lap. I think when he went into the bus stop, it was a bit too deep. I think, Matthew, you mentioned how the ABS can overheat the tires some, cause some extra tire wear, but you also don't want to hit that ABS because I believe it also can rob you of some lap time because you'll just go deep if you rely on it too much. Especially that in the TC as well. The way the TC cuts can often rob you of that lap time that you're so begging for when you're in these qualifying sessions, especially for the bottom half of the field. Right now we're on board with Ryan Whitlock. He's currently headed into Jackie Xbox, I think it's called. Pretty well. He's losing all that track, hitting his apexes right, but only 2 yellow sectors for the first 2, so it doesn't look like he's improving his lap time too much.
Yeah, so for those of you following along at home, yellow sector is not quite as fast, but you see Kyle Bonin with a pair of greens. Those will be personal best for him, and if you see a purple, I think if we see Sean Campbell again, that's the fastest sector for the session overall. So we'll see if Sean is able to set a few, but Kyle Bonin on a pretty good lap of his own in the number 26 machine. You see that track map on the right side of your screen as well, showing where Bonin is on track, notified by that little green circle next to the BON for Bonin next to his name as he heads down toward getting to that bus stop chicane. But we heard it from race control. A lot of guys getting off tracks on their second lap. So what that means, if you're not familiar with the iRacing model, all 4 tires have gone off the racing surface, or whatever iRacing has deemed the racing surface, and that will invalidate your lap time, meaning that qualifying lap does not count. And when they're this long at Spa, that can be costly. So we've got 3 guys still yet to set a time, as Kyle Bonin will improve by half a second on that lap. Matt?
Yeah, I think you mentioned that. I think a lot of these drivers are dealing with off tracks, and once you get that one off track, your entire lap's done for. So I think a lot of drivers just resetting, trying to prep for their next lap. As we see Sean Campbell, 30 machine for Randolph Community College, coming around the final corner now out of the bus stop, just keeping it on the inside of those red and white curbs, crosses the line just as the session finishes 2:17 on his last lap. Can't quite improve, but Sean does take P1 in qualifying, but will drop to the end of the line for the first race.
Yeah, no surprise at all there to see Sean on top of your leaderboard. So let's run through your race grid, brought to you by InnoVetted Labs. Sean Campbell on provisional pole, but like Matt mentioned, he will be receiving an EOL in this first race and first race only. So we'll see if he's able to make his way up through the field. Hagen Johnson will inherit the pole from Clemson University. Thomas Toomey from Virginia will end up starting third, but really will be starting second. Kyle Bonin from Clemson needing a good finish. He will roll off fourth here tonight. Justin Roberts from Clemson in fifth. So a lot of Clemson guys up at the front. We'll see how that shakes out. Cohen Evans from IUPUI rolls off sixth. Ryan Whitlock with one of our onboard cameras will start in seventh. George Nimmer from Southern Illinois, the first of your alumni here tonight, he will start in eighth. Evan Puckett from Ball State University in ninth. Andrew Williams from Clemson will roll off 10th here tonight. Nick Patnella right behind him in 11th from Robert Morris University. Ethan C. Walters from The Ohio State University rolls off 12th in that number 36 machine. And the rest of your field, Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology will start 13th. Athena LeClaire from St. Clair College in 14th. Alexander Klenk from WPI 15th. Gavin Keithley from Minnesota Twin Cities 16th. And Kyle Wood rounding out your field. As we get set to go green, short little pace lap here, and Hagen Johnson, Justin Roberts will lead an all Clemson front row to the green flag. And as we get going here, guys, I'm going to ask you very quickly who your pick is to win, and we'll start with you, Matt.
Yeah, I think Hagen Johnson has the track position and the speed to kind of take it to the win tonight for the first race. So I'm predicting Hagen Johnson.
Easy prediction here. I think Sean Campbell, there's not a large field tonight, so I think he doesn't have too many cars to pass, and they know he has the pace.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Thomas Toomey. He was doing a lot of practice recently, has seemed to be pretty good, especially on that qualifying. So I'm gonna say Thomas Toomey here.
All right, all great picks to win, and we are underway for race 1 of the night. Justin Roberts leads the field through turn 1, and here they go. A little drafting there from Whitlock and Bonin as they head up the hill for the first time here tonight. The top 2 single file as they head toward you, Matt Nordberg.
Yeah, as they come out of a Radion down the Kimball Straight, keeping it single file so far. Looks like Alexander clicking them back and getting a little loose. But we hear us running side by side with Nick Patinella going down side by side into the Lacombe chicane. Looks like up to the front, Hagen Johnson and Justin Roberts are going side by side. Hagen gets pushed a little bit wide there, almost onto the grass, as Kyle Bonin behind him tries to squeeze in. But Ryan Whitlock holds on to third position as they go down to Bruxelles. Single file for now. Everyone kind of keeping it nice through the first couple corners. No big incidents to report so far as they make their way through the tricky off-cambered corner of Bruxelles. Down to what used to be called No Name, now called the Jackie X corner, as we see Evan Puckett making a move on Cohen Evans there, down the inside as we go to you, John.
Yeah, it looks like they've gone pretty single file, but looks like I think Cohen Evans had a bit of a peek inside as he went into Puan. Not really a place you want to make a move, just given how it's really fast, not really a dual line corner. Looks like Hayden Johnson's trying to go on around the outside of Justin Roberts. Couldn't really make it stick. It's now pretty much everyone looks to be sticking in the single file as they start reaching this back straight and starting to run into Blanchimont. To you, Christian.
Yeah, they're doing pretty well. This is going pretty good. I did hear over the radio something about Andrew Johnson possibly getting punted by one of the other drivers. Wasn't able to catch exactly what happens there. But yeah, as they go through these kind of corners, they're all approaching this first chicane, or the second chicane. This is the tightest of the chicanes. So this could possibly be a place for these drivers to kind of get bunched up and maybe even hit each other if one kind of fails to hit their brakes correctly or turn into each other. But oh yeah, we have one crash currently into the wall.
Yeah, right on cue. That's Nicholas Patinella involved with Austin DeLong. We'll take a quick look at what just happened. Austin DeLong with 22. This might be a separate incident, actually, as Austin DeLong coming into that final bus stop chicane. And we mentioned it, very easy to lose your car. He's actually going to head down pit lane. Unsure what happened to the 22, but back to the incident we saw on the corner of your screen, the 72 and the 17. You see the 35 just run a little wide, gets into the 17. And then, yeah, just a little collision right there between the 35. That's Evan Puckett and the 72 of Nicholas Patinella. We'll see if Patinella can get it rolling again. It looks like he has, and they'll head on up. Reminder, they do not get a fast repair here in these races. Since they have the 225-minute races, he'll have to roll with what he's got for the rest of these 22 minutes that remain. Top 3, Hagen Johnson, Justin Roberts, Kyle Bonin as they head down the track. Matt?
Yeah, coming through No Name here. It looks like Clemson cars running 3 in a row right now as we go back. Sean Campbell making his way through the field, making a move past Cohen Evans, going up in the No Name corner as they roll down towards Puan. Single filing out. We'll see if Sean is brave enough to make a move there. John?
I told you, Sean Campbell, he's always the safe bet. He's already he's in 5th position after starting from the rear. So really, really confident stuff. With the Clemson 1, 2, 3, I think it's pretty interesting. I think in Oval we've seen them go 1, 2, 3, but never have they been ever able to bring that to the checker. So we'll see if they'll finally either break the curse or if the prophecy will be fulfilled. To you, Christian.
Yeah, as they're kind of going through here, pretty tight racing. Sean Campbell right on the bumper of Ryan Whitlock. trying to really keep some pressure on him as he tries to go for the move, takes it onto the grass. That's a move I haven't seen in a while. They're going around this long sweeping left-hander. Take it again, and Sean, Kyle just backs out a bit, tries to give Sean some room because, again, as we come up onto this chicane here, it can get a ton of... Going 3 wide, wow! Going 3 wide into the chicane. Oh, that was a mess. I'm shocked that went cleanly. Sean Campbell getting just a slight tap on the bumper, and that's about it. Jared?
Almost reminiscent of Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen. There's diving to the inside. That's Ethan Walters from the Ohio State University. He tries to make a move on Alexander Clank, and it is getting dicey here in the mid-pack. Thomas Toomey maybe a little late on the brakes there, but he's able to survive just up ahead. Cohen Evans has retaken that position from Sean Campbell. See how long that lasts. Matt?
Yeah, I think as they go down the Kimmel Straight, I think everybody's taking the opportunity to breathe for a second. Maybe except Thomas Toomey, who's under a little bit of pressure from Evan Puckett behind. As they go down into Lake Home, Evan Puckett pulls to the inside, trying to outbrake the Virginia driver of Thomas Toomey. Going into Lake Home, looks like Thomas a little bit deeper on the brakes, holding it around the outside for the first part of Lake Home, but making it stick, going down out of Lake Home, down towards Bruxelles. There's a spin behind Alexander Klink. Looks like he got tagged from behind, and all the drivers doing well to avoid him. That was a little close, trying to back off the track, but Klink doing a great job to stay out of the way. So we'll take a look at what happened here. With looks like just out of the a little bit of a tap on when trying to go around the outside of that is turn 9 out of Lacombe, but maybe a little bit of unfortunate netcode there from Klink and Evan Puckett, but I mean you kind of risk that when you're going around the outside. As we turn back down to you, John.
Yeah, I believe I said at the start that the Clemson cars work together, give themselves a bit of a tow down the front straight, but they are definitely not working together this race right now, because Hagan Johnson has now dropped 2 positions. He's kind of just falling back. In the Lacombe, they were making some contact with Justin Roberts, really fighting hard. So they are really not playing a team game here. So it's interesting to see if this will continue. But if they keep fighting, they might not get the Clemson 1-2-3 that they're looking for.
Yeah, so as a few times we've already seen, and we just saw it with that crash, if you're taking that outside line, you have to be really careful because corners and cars aren't designed to take that outside line. They're designed to take that racing line. And if you're taking that outside line and you're up on the top, it's a lot easier to spin out, as we saw. So, Jarrett?
Sean Campbell, the move on the inside of Cohen Evans in turn 1. He'll take that position back up to 5th. We saw Sean get tagged by 35 a moment to go, drop back a couple spots, but having a battle right on back, just with less time on the clock now as we follow on board with Sean Campbell up the hill through the 7.5 minute mark, and he's going to try and chase down Ryan Whitlock up next. Matt?
Yeah, they come down to Lacone. It looks like Cohen Evans might have a bit of a run here, but it's the 2 Clemson cars up front, Kyle Bonin and Justin Roberts, continue to fight it out through Lacombe. Looks like Kyle Bonin is going to be taking the lead through there as he gets a little bit of the gravel on the exit of Lacombe. Maybe Justin Roberts has the opportunity to attack in the Bruxelles, but can't quite get there. Tricky corner to get right. Camber, it's very easy to lock up the brakes going into that corner. So drivers really making sure to keep care of their tires through there. John?
Yeah, for this Clemson battle to continue, now as they go into these fast corners of Pouan and the Kepis chicane, if Justin Roberts wants to get this win, he'll have to somehow stay behind. Because of the dirty air, he might not be able to do it.
Yeah, currently
John.
watching... Oh, apologies about that.
Yeah, John, I was just going to mention, I think maybe for these Clemson cars up front, maybe their biggest worry isn't necessarily each other right now, but the looming threat of Sean Campbell as he makes his way through the field, back up to 5th after his little incident.
Yeah, I watched that incident. I believe that was, I can't remember who it was that dive bombed, but I think it was Thomas Toomey. And you could actually see how Sean Campbell turned out of the way. You could see that he was looking in his mirror to make sure he didn't get hit. That was really good heads-up driving from Sean Campbell. I guess that is just proof of how talented he is as he gets past Ryan LeBlanc.
Yeah, as we see a repeat of essentially what happened last lap, but a lot cleaner happening. Sean Campbell was finally able to overtake Ryan Whitlock, and Sean kind of little poking at Ryan, telling him, "Hey, don't back out this time. Let's try to see if we can race this out." And Sean being able to overtake on the outside, um, and finally taking fourth. So Sean with fourth, Ryan Whitlock in fifth, and Cohen Evans in sixth.
Tell you what I did see on the left side of our screen. I saw a purple lap time, meaning that's the fastest lap time of the field in this session. And it was not Sean Campbell. It was Thomas Toomey back there in the Audi in 7th place. And that was a good lap for the 66 University of Virginia machine. A little bit of toe in front from Cohen Evans. We'll see if he can make it back to back. Matt?
Yeah, Cohen Evans using the toe of Ryan Whitlock in front to try and get past. I think Ryan's in a bit of a bad spot right now. He got overtaken by Sean. It maybe messed up his rhythm a little bit, and now he's fallen to some of the cars behind him. Cohen Evans able to get past on Lacombe. But I don't think Ryan's going to give that one up so easily. He's right on the bumper of Cohen going into Bruxelles. If he can get it right, he might be able to set up a move into Jackie X corner coming up next. But very tricky to overtake in this middle sector. So a lot of cars take the opportunity, save their tires a little bit, save a little bit of fuel, and hopefully get the next corner right. John?
I'm certain this is a 25-minute race. I'm not sure fuel's going to be the issue. Tires, maybe, but I know you could definitely overheat them during Kuon if you kind of overuse the steering wheel. But I know I've been a victim of that plenty in these GT3 cars. But I think I have bigger issues with Kuon. Most of the drivers seem to be slotting into their rhythms, going single file, especially through this sector, which is not really much of a move you can make through this area.
As we're currently on board with Thomas Toomey, currently our race's fastest lap holder with a 2:17.164. Sean Campbell, though, not too far behind with a 2:17.178. But I'd like to just say that, I originally predicted that Thomas Toomey would win this. He already has the fastest lap now. He just has to work his way through the field and be able to take this as he approaches this corner, going down into probably second with his car, but who knows? Definitely taking it clean, but definitely wants to get in front of Whitlock and Evans here so he can kind of get ahead. Maybe they might be holding him back a bit. I'm unsure about that.
Yeah, and I think we say it kind of week in and week out. It's one thing to catch the driver in front of you. It's a completely another thing to make the pass, and I think we've seen that from Sean Campbell, that not only is he able to catch, but he is able to pass. And it's a very underrated skill at times, and seeing Sean Campbell make these moves he's doing, especially on the outside in some of the corners, is all the more impressive as they head down toward you, Matt.
Yeah, Sean looking like he's trying to make the move around Hagen Johnson going out through Radion. He gets it done before the braking zone. Really interesting to note as Cohen Evans and Ryan Whitlock go side by side. Ryan Whitlock around the outside of Lacombe, going to squeeze Cohen Evans. Just gives him enough room as these two go side by side as Thomas Toomey takes advantage of the opportunity and gets past Cohen Evans. So that's one position for Thomas, one position for Ryan Whitlock. Big loser there, definitely Cohen Evans. But one thing that I saw was Hagen Johnson was super slow coming out of Radion. Makes me think that he's really lacking for that rear grip right now. Whether it's mechanical or he's such as tire grip or if it's aerodynamic, I'm not sure. But definitely slow through Radion. John?
Yeah, we did get some stewards confirmation that an incident between the 61 and the 13 cars on lap 5 was a predetermined racing incident. We won't see any penalties come from that. I also commented earlier about the Clemson 1-2-3. I guess we can say that pretty much is over now that Sean got past Hagen Johnson. It'll be interesting if he pulls it up to the lead. I'm kind of rooting for him just because he always does this back to front. It's kind of tradition at this point.
Yeah, I agree with that. Sean Campbell, for some reason, I believe just put out the fastest lap last lap. On my screen, it says he did a 2:16.7, but it's not showing up as purple. So not too sure yet. Sean might have just pulled out the fastest lap as he just enters into second place. So he just passed over Justin Roberts. So now he has to track down Kyle Bonin, who's a decent distance ahead of him, but I don't think he's too far ahead of him. They still have a good 10 minutes to go here, but he's still a full 2 seconds ahead of him.
Yeah, and it will
Yeah,
be
one
interesting to see how he closes with that draft. Matt?
Yeah, that last lap, Sean Campbell even when overtaking Justin Roberts was nearly a second quicker than Kyle Bonin. So Kyle Bonin's got a little bit something to worry about in his rearview mirror. But we ride on board with Ryan Whitlock and Thomas Toomey. It looks like Thomas goes a little bit wide on the exit of Radion, going down the Kimmel Straight side by side, trying to use that straight line speed advantage in the Lamborghini. Hopefully, pull ahead before the braking zone. Looks like he's just able to do that. Squeeze in right behind, or right in front of Lacone Evans, and Ryan Whitlock back up to fifth. He's having a pretty eventful race tonight. He's been racing Sean, Thomas Toomey, Cohen Evans. These three are really scrapping it out for position. So getting a little single file going in the more technical sectors of the middle of the lap. Rocking the moon on the side of his car in his Lamborghini, hoping to hopefully take that car as fast as it can go, fast enough to maybe even reach outer space. John?
Yeah, this battle between Thomas Toomey and Ryan Whitlock, think it's the closest we have on track right now. Not too much. There's not going to be any dive bombs where I'm sitting, so not anything I have to shout out about. But do definitely see Thomas Toomey. He sits right behind him and just is patient. That's what this whole sector is about. You can't really make a move here, so you just have to find your rhythm for this section and try to get a draft towards Blanchimont. Be interesting. Cohen Evans is also sitting back here. I wonder if he'll try to get a big pick. Use full choice of which person to draft from. To you, Christian.
Yeah, as we were sitting all along with Ryan Whitlock, about to go into these next few left-handers, kind of sweeping left-handers. Thomas Toomey wanting to make a move on Ryan. That might be happening just shortly, entering into this here chicane. Seeing, possibly he got really close, almost too close. I think he kind of got scared and slammed his brakes a bit more than he probably would want to. But Ryan definitely being able to take off with that extremely fast acceleration off of that Lamborghini. That's a pretty scary corner in my opinion to be first or second in that kind of pack, because you never know what the driver behind you is going to end up doing.
Yeah, tough to navigate right there, but these guys expertly doing it through a tricky part of the track. You get a good look from the stands here at Spa as they go back up the hill once again. Track map on the right side of your screen with the first three letters of each driver's last name. And you can see right there the field's starting to spread out just a little bit as it's kind of turned into a front pack and a back pack, and then a couple single file drivers. Heading to you, Matt.
Yeah, it looks like that this pack of Whitlock, Toomey, and Evans couldn't quite close up to each other. Single file through the Kimmel Straight. It might be that Thomas Toomey has a little bit more downforce in that Audi, or a little less straight line speed compared to Whitlock in front. It might be a bit more stable through some of the high speed corners, like on the end of the lap in Blanchimont, which could give him a good run out of that corner into the bus stop chicane. But for now, through the technical sectors in the middle, they go single file. John?
I don't know. I think this might have happened earlier, but so Sean Campbell is currently sitting second. I think he's been slowly catching up to Bonin, in first right now. So I think we need to keep an eye on that just to make sure we don't miss a battle for the lead. It does seem like his car's a bit loose as we went through the campus chicane on Campbell's car. Wondering if might have overused his tires getting from the back to the front here.
Yeah, as we sit along watching, as we were watching Cohen Evans, now we switched into Sean Campbell, trying to track down Kyle Bonin as we last kind of checked in. At least I last checked in, kind of going through these these turns, just going through Blanchimont. Excuse me, heading right into as he tries to go for the pass, going into the chicane. I thought I was gonna see this in with Thomas Toomey. Didn't end up taking it, but here we go, and no, that's not what's going to happen. I was on the wrong car as he turns in onto the front straight, headed to Eau Rouge. This is kind of a time for some of these drivers to relax after some of those hectic turns and right before they get up to this.
Yes, we got a couple of battles going on. Sean Campbell quickly closing and Kyle Bonin, and then a three-way battle for P5. That's Whitlock, Toomey, and Evans mixing it up on your screen. But we flash you back to your leader as they head down toward Matt Nordberg.
Yeah, it looks like Sean Campbell can't quite get there at the end of the Kimmel Straight, but looks like in the back behind them, Thomas Toomey and Ryan Whitlock are scrapping it out down the Kimmel Straight, hoping to make a move into around the outside on the Lake Home. Thomas Toomey, he gets it done. Finally dispatches of the Ryan Whitlock in front of him after kind of tucking in behind him for the past few laps, but looks like Ryan had a bit of a bobble coming out of Radion on the Kimmel Straight, so that gave Thomas the opportunity to get past. And we talked earlier, or we mentioned earlier about maybe that Audi's running higher downforce as we take a look back at the leaders. John?
Yeah, it seems definitely like Cohen Evans now surely wants to get past Ryan Whitlock for P6. I think you might have a point there with a higher downforce, because I think consistently on the Kemmel Straight, Toomey would just catch up so much time down the straights, and was just maximizing that time that he had in his Lamborghini to try to just keep defending. There's no chance for him to try to build a gap and get some space to relax from.
Sean Campbell finally, if you want to say it that way, finally taking the lead from Kyle Bonin through Puan. Kyle Bonin kind of losing a bit of grip, almost actually sliding out, but was able to save it and catch it on. But Sean was able to take the inside and kind of keep it handled and go through. So currently, Sean Campbell, first place with the fastest lap as well, with a 2:16.973. With his last stop is almost a 2:17.0. So he's definitely getting a lot quicker as his fuel depletes, and his tires don't seem to really be affecting him. He's able to kind of hold it on. But we do see tires affecting some of these drivers, such as Kyle, when you're going through some of these fast-handers, if you don't have your setup correctly for some of these high downforce corners. Jared?
And you said it right there, that high downforce, but it looks like Bonin maybe a little more straight line speed than Sean Campbell, as he's close to under 0.2 of a second. He's going to have a good run. They might go side by side here. A little bit of side draft going on right there, and it looks like Bonin is going to challenge once again. Heading to you, Matt.
Yeah, it looks like Bonin's trying to make his way around the outside, trying to squeeze Sean and make sure he doesn't have the room, but it looks like Kyle Bonin kind of slides up in front of him. A little bit of a slide job action there coming out of the corner, but Bonin ahead coming out of Lake Home. Barely ahead, just put a bumper in front of Sean, but they're going to go side by side out of Bruxelles. Such a difficult corner to get right. Super off camber. It's so difficult. It looks like Sean Campbell gets the inside corner of Kyle Bonin. They both spin out of the exit of Bruxelles, and Justin Roberts takes the lead. Just chaos ensues at the front. These two racing side by side, they just couldn't be separated. And then, inevitably there's going to be contact as you take a look back at the replay.
Yeah, mere millimeters separated those two. I was going to try to yell at something was going to happen, because like my incident on the last lap on the Prospect Series race at North Wilkesboro, that was just an accident begging to happen. And now the whole picture of this race is now completely cracked wide open.
Yeah, if your name...
So I was going to say, so it looks like Justin Roberts in Clemson still has the lead. So it looks like Clemson's still going to get the win, as we have, I think, 4 minutes left in this race. And a Clemson 1-2 as well.
Yeah, if your name is Justin Roberts, Hagen Johnson, or Thomas Toomey, you're pretty excited right now. I mean, that's not a way you want to grab those places, but hey, anything will work. So right now, our top 4 have just changed. Actually, our top 3 has just changed to Justin Roberts, place P1, Hagen Johnson P2, and Thomas Toomey P3. As we get further and further along in this race, Thomas Toomey's looking closer and closer P1, as I originally had stated. So I hope that works out for him. But well, I'll be excited to see kind of anyone. That was a really good racing between Sean and Ryan, but you get too close in some of these corners and you can't help it there. But things are inevitable to happen. Jarrett?
Yeah, look at that. A purple lap for Cohen Evans from IUPUI. He's sitting in 4th. White flag in the air. It's the InnoVetted Labs white flag. Final lap of this first race of the night. Justin Roberts trying to hold on. He's got a 1 second gap on Hagen Johnson. Maybe just out of range for Johnson to get a good trap. Back behind Thomas Toomey, Cohen Evans side by side. Heading down to you, Matt.
Yeah, as they try to fight for that last podium position, Cohen Evans using that last purple lap, going around the outside of Thomas Toomey there, making it look easy almost. Fantastic grip coming from that Porsche of the IUPUI driver as they head down to Bruxelles, but These guys aren't going to give up that easily. It looks like a little fake from Thomas Toomey. Dives inside, then darts back outside, hoping to get a good move on Cone Evans, but can't quite get it done. But he's really hassling the bumper of that Porsche machine driven by Cone Evans. A little wide there, coming out of No Name. Maybe an off track for that one, but he's going to try to send it down the inside of Puan. To you, John.
Puan's a very interesting place to see this happen, and it looks like he makes the move stick. Really interesting to see it happen there. But he had the run, but it looks like Cone Evans might try to come back at him, but he has to check out into the campus chicane. With the white flag in here, all these drivers are going to get desperate. Cone Evans is going to be desperate for this podium place. It'll be interesting to see if he makes it happen into the bus stop here. That'll be his only chance.
For a hot minute there, I thought I was going to have some commentators curse for Thomas Toomey, but I believe I was wrong with that. And if you want to be able to take over in the corners, most places for most corners, the best place you want to be is the inside corner where the racing line is. But it all depends on the corner. As we're approaching this chicane here, we're going to be going to, I believe, since we're light flag, we're going to be going into our P1, P2, P3 finish. Checkered flag, Jarrett.
Yes, it looks like Justin Roberts will take it home. Hagen Johnson second. Thomas Toomey battles back to finish third. Cone Evans fourth. Ryan Whitlock back there in fifth. A great run, and look who steals the fastest lap right back there in sixth. It's Sean Campbell in the number 30 machine. George Nimmer coming away for SIU, your first alumni here back in 8th. Evan Puckett crossing the line. I think we'll see Puckett back in this second race, but a good run for them all. Andrew Williams finishing on up, and you'll see a couple drivers coming to the line here as you pay to the left side of your screen. Actually, good battle going on between Alex Clank and Nicholas Patinella. Right now, the 13 and the 17 is coming to the line. The 13 car looking pretty rough there. Alex Clank, as he was involved in that wreck earlier. We'll see him back in a minute. And Clank might have given up one too many positions. He went from starting on pole to starting back there in 13th. So I don't know if that was intentional or not, but Athena Leclerc and Austin DeLong going to finish on up here. But a quick look at your results here from race number 1 of the night before we get set to go. Justin Roberts from Clemson comes away first. Hagen Johnson, another Clemson driver, in second. A Clemson 1-2 on the roadside. You guys said it. Not the first time we've had that, but it was on the oval last time. Thomas Toomey from Virginia in third. Cone Evans from IUPUI in fourth. Ryan Whitlock from Alabama at Huntsville in fifth. Sean Campbell comes away sixth. Kyle Bonin in seventh. George Nimmer from Southern Illinois, he will finish in 8th. Evan Puckett from Ball State in 9th. 10th is Andrew Williams from Clemson. 11th, Nicholas Patinella from Robert Morris. You saw him involved in a couple of late race incidents, so we'll see if the Robert Morris team can battle from the front here. He'll be starting second in this race. Remember, those top 12 drivers are inverted, so 12th is now first. First is now 12th, so on and so forth. Kyle Wood from Ball State University will roll off in pole position here for race number 2. Alex Clank from WPI finishing 13th. Ethan Walters from Ohio State in 14th. Athena Leclerc, Austin DeLong, and Gavin Keithley make up the tail end of your field. And that's how race 1 has shaken out. Race 2 on tap. Christian?
Yeah, that was pretty good. It went well, and I'm happy for Clemson. I mean, getting a 1-2. And then we definitely saw. Who was that who got 13th? Who kind of just stalled out? I was kind of curious if his engine died out for like literally at the last second. If he was pulling a Red Bull with the last race, just like engine. But I guess he strategically, he wanted 13th to kind of not have that flip around or anything. Maybe he just didn't want that. Alexander Klenk was the driver, by the way. Still kind of sitting on track there. It hasn't gone back into the pits. But it was a good race, and I'm excited to see this next one. John?
Yeah. With that incident, I think the stewards apparently say that wasn't a racing incident. I think I would say the same. It was just kind of a bit too close. Neither driver wanted to give up. But with the second race, it looks like they're going to be starting right next to each other. So it'll be interesting to see if there's any bad blood coming from them, or if they'll be nice and mature and play nice. But if something does happen into, let's say, Radion, could wrap up some other people into it.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this field invert's gonna handle and tackle Eau Rouge and Radion. We know that's a very tricky corner on the first lap with cold tires. So I know multiple times this year we've had incidents in the first lap of the second race where you have the slower drivers up front and the fast drivers behind, and sometimes patience is important. Take it from me, I've been there before, and I have been impatient, and it's cost me. So these drivers just need to be patient. It's a 25-minute race. That some of these drivers are going to be maybe working with your teammates or working with their teammates. I know at the front they have a couple Ball State guys. The Clemson guys are going to be next to each other, so it'll be interesting to see how all this factors into the play.
Yeah, man, I think you said it right there. We've seen a 25-minute race. We kind of know how drivers are going to attack it. Now people make adjustments. Maybe we adjust a setup. Maybe we adjust a strategy. And we also have to think about our starting position, because we're going to have guys in the front who did not qualify at the front based on pace, and they're at the front because of that top 12 invert. So it provides a very interesting dynamic here in this second race, and we also know those 25 minutes go by very quickly in this second race, right? So guys know, hey, I got to make my move. I got to make it now. And guys maybe in the back who have the speed, have the pace, and want to make a move. And John, you mentioned a couple times, a lot of corners at this track where you maybe shouldn't make a move, but it's a very tempting option there. Christian?
Yeah, I'm still kind of pondering on what went on with Alexander Klenk. I'm just sitting here and I just can't actually think of a reason why he would want to not take 12th. I mean, you get to start first in the race. You're out of that like kind of messy air, you're out of any possible trouble. If there's a giant wreck, you're not caught up into it. You can just keep flying. My only other thought is maybe he just doesn't. He knows he's fast enough to kind of maybe keep up with some of these drivers and doesn't want to risk them having to kind of drive around him and possibly cause a crash. He wants to have more of a clean race. John?
That's all I can imagine it would be. Because it definitely was not that he stalled out on the line, but that he wanted to be 13th because he accelerated right when P12 or who was P13 passed him. So I think it was definitely deliberate that he wanted P13.
Maybe he's trying to pull his best Sean Campbell impression, start from the back, work his way through the field. You never know.
Indeed. So, starting lineup here for race number 2 of the night, week 6 out of 7. So, quickly closing in on the finale, 2 weeks' time at Interlagos. But first, we got to wrap up one more 25-minute battle here at Spa. Kyle Wood in the 99 for Ball State will lead us to the green flag. Nicholas Patinella from Robert Morris, the red, white, and blue machine, will start on his outside. Andrew Williams from Clemson starts row number 2. Evan Puckett with our onboard camera. He'll take us to the green flag from position 4. George Nimmer from Southern Illinois, your alumni winner in the first race, will roll off 5th. Kyle Bonin from Clemson in 6th. Sean Campbell from Randolph Community College, he starts in 7th here tonight. Expect him to quickly dice through the field. Ryan Whitlock from Alabama at Huntsville rolls off 8th. Cone Evans from IUPUI starts his second race in 9th. Thomas Toomey from Virginia in 10th. Hagen Johnson and Justin Roberts make up row number 6. And carrying on down your starting grid, Alexander Klenk, Ethan Walters, Athena LeClaire, Austin DeLong, and Gavin Keithley making up the rest of your field. So Kyle Wood, Nicholas Patinella going to lead us to the green flag and spot an interesting track in terms of how they set the field. Kyle Wood will have the outside on the bus stop, but the inside into turn number 1. So that preferred line there for the number 99. Green flag in the air and a big jump. We're going to go 3, maybe 4 wide at the start-finish line. Big gaggle behind the leaders. We'll see how this one shakes out. Puckett thinks about going up the inside, and he will be able to survive. Looks like everyone no worse for wear, but still trying to find room as they're going to head up the hill through Eau Rouge. Side by side, that might not work. It's Andrew Williams, Nicholas Patinella. Patinella does back out of it, gives the space. You must always leave the space. Heading to you, Matt.
Yeah, as we see, it looks like Evan Puckett going side by side with Andrew Williams with that Clemson machine. Can't quite make it work. He's going side by side with Hagen Johnson now as they go 2x2 for 4th and 5th and 5th and 6th. Looks like Evan Puckett's going to come out on the worst end of that. Loses, it looks like 2 positions. Maybe fights back on the second corner of Lacombe. Can't quite get there, though, as we ride with Hagen Johnson as he fights his teammate, Kyle Bonin, going down into Bruxelles. Still not single filed out, still fighting side by side as looks like Thomas Toomey's trying to make it work down the inside. Maybe gets 1, 2, 3 positions maybe. It looks like there's a car slow on the exit of the Bruxelles corner going into no name, but can't get a good look from the blimp of who that is. To you, John.
Yeah, I think last race you saw how the Clemson battle went with Hagen Johnson losing a load of positions. So I think they'll try to work together this time to try to get them extra college points for this race. Looks like we might have a move coming from the BMW up there. It was Nicholas Patinella. Looks like he's right on the bumper of Andrew Williams, I believe that is. Still is now 2-2 as we head into Stavelo. It looks like they'll all start settling back. Cohen Evans now on the inside as they head towards you, Christian.
Yeah, we have our most recent retirement. Justin Roberts, our stage 1 winner, has retired from the race. Unknown reason why. So that's definitely an interesting kind of shake-up in the field. Along with, before the race had started, George Nimmer and Sean Campbell were both given EOLs. George Nimmer with a previous race penalty, and Sean was given the EOL request. Strange request to ask, but Sean really enjoys those kind of EOLs for those strategies, or not strategies, but definitely those challenges as we head past the pit straight and the finish line. Heading on to the second, Nicholas Patinella, wow, was given a black flag. He jumped the start and checked up the field. Definitely be seeing that quite a few times on races myself, so definitely an interesting black flag.
So big group of cars reminiscent of kind of pack racing that we've seen. Thomas Toomey dives to the outside. He's going to try and make a move on Kyle Wood, and I think he's going to get it done. And right behind him, a whole host of cars trying to make their way through as well. Matt?
Yeah, as they come down to Lacombe, they're going, looks like 2, maybe even 3 wide, as Sean Campbell sends one straight down the inside of Nicholas Patinella. He rides with Thomas Toomey as he exits Lacombe. It looks like Alexander Klink making his way up through the field after starting 13th. Couldn't quite get that pole position for race 2, but Nicholas Patinella, Alexander Klink and Sean Campbell are going side by side there as we head to the front of the field. Andrew Williams looks like he's holding off the lead from Kyle Bonin, his Clemson teammate, as looks like Alexander Klink is falling down the field right now. He must have gotten caught into an incident with Sean, so we might have to go take a look back at that. But Andrew Williams leads the field through Pouan as we get a replay here of Klink and Sean Campbell. Looks like they're going side by side here, and maybe he catches the inside curb. Yeah, looks like he just does. Well, that's a hard hit on the inside wall there, but that's tough luck for Alexander Klink there. He was running a good race up to this point, started 13th. Just bad luck.
Yeah, it looks to me like he didn't expect Kyle Wood to kind of check up on the exit of Bruxelles, but just unfortunate from him. Kind of sucks because now both races he's going to have to suffer from a lot of damage.
Yeah, as we see Kyle Wood all the way dropped now to 7th place from first when we originally started here. And now Andrew Williams taking in P1 followed by Kyle Bonin and Thomas Toomey. Thomas Toomey flying through the pack, as well as Sean Campbell right on the hot on his heels, followed by Cohen Evans. They're currently going through that chicane. It's a pretty rough spot. Kyle Wood pushes, I believe, Ryan Whitlock, as we get a couple other drivers kind of collide up into that chicane. That chicane's a pretty deadly place. You can end an entire race there if you kind of get caught in the wrong spot. as we see, I believe, a driver might have some mechanical issues.
Yeah, all
Yeah, it
sorts
looks
of
like Ryan Whitlock.
slowdowns. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I think I was just going to say what you were going to say. I think Ryan Whitlock got a slowdown for cutting the chicane there, so might have missed his braking point. Maybe got pushed wide, but either way, he's going to lose a few positions from that one. Yeah, as we go back up to the Kimmel Straight, looks like Kyle Bonnet and Thomas Toomey aren't giving up the fight quite yet. Kyle Bonnet on the inside for that Virginia machine, Thomas Toomey on the outside. Squeezing him tight on the outside, Thomas Toomey makes the move stick. Looks absolutely pinned to the ground through there around the outside. That was just good job on the brakes, good job turning in. Great move from Thomas there to take second position. He takes a look down the inside of Andrew Williams, can't quite get there. Almost a repeat of what we saw between Bonnet and Sean Campbell last race, as we see Thomas Toomey still holding it in second place as they go down to Kuan. John?
Yeah, I don't want to repeat. It looks like as a peak as we start heading towards Puan. Drop back a bit after entry. Yeah, it looks like he's not going to be able to make the move here. He's a bit too far back. But Sean Campbell, I know I put the call in for race 1, but let's just say my call for him to win was for race 2. I'm thinking long game, all right? It looks like he's making the move here. Thomas Toomey can't make it stick. Williams does really cover the apex row. But now he's going to have the draft as he heads into Blanchemont and the bus stop chicane. To you, Christian.
As I just see Kyle Wood just get sent off into the barriers back there. A lone incident, not really much going on there. But holding my breath watching Thomas Toomey currently take P1, take the lead from... Ooh! Well, if that wasn't commentator's curse, I don't know what was.
Synchronized commentators curse is what that was. You just summoned death.
Ouch. Let's watch that again on this replay. See exactly what happened.
You could not separate the two of them, could you?
Kind of seems like he got caught up in the draft a bit, and the back of his car just kind of kicked out from under him on that turn. Just got a little bit too much speed, and his car couldn't keep it handled. Definitely a decent amount of front end damage there. It might really inhibit him on the rest of the race. Kind of upset about that because, again, I had picked him for the win of the race. And Thomas, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. I believe that was my fault. Ooh! As we see Andrew Williams spin out and also eat the wall. Lots of drivers just taking it out right now. I'm not sure what's happening right here.
Yeah, certainly a lot more aggression in this second race here. A lot more incidents. As we look at the front and we see two familiar faces who were racing for the win last race. Kyle Bonnet and Sean Campbell. We're back for fight round 2 between these two. As we look further back in the field, Hagen Johnson, currently 4th place in the students right now. George Nimmer in front of him, trying to chase him down a little bit. 1.3 seconds behind is Ryan Whitlock. Hopes to make his way back into the field after getting that slowdown earlier. Just a lot of incidents through the field so far. These drivers are not playing nice anymore. They know that there's not another race after this, so all your aggression, it's not going to hurt you later. It's just going to hurt you in this race. So definitely more aggression coming out of these drivers. But I think things starting to calm down now. I think a lot of the faster drivers have maybe started to take themselves out through incidents as we look back up in the lead. John?
These two are really dueling that. We'll see if they end up having another incident like they had in race 1, but I kind of hope not because they just raced so cleanly and so respectfully. You can really see how and he was defending into the campus chicane, and you could see how each of them has to do their give and take, and it's just such a interesting battle. I'll have to save this replay, see how they battle, and take some notes.
Sean Campbell extremely close in the bumper of Kyle Bonnet, both extremely very talented drivers, both doing really well. Sean Campbell, I think, trying to overtake for P1, possibly through chicane, trying to see if he can maybe get a better exit on him, but Kyle Bonnet keeps him backed up and is not able to get a better exit as they come into pit straight. Jarrett?
Yeah, Sean Campbell with that purple lap all over the back bumper. You know who's loving seeing this battle? It's Cohen Evans back there in third. He's closed within 0.6 of a second. to the top three. So we saw a top three a moment ago, duking it out, and now a completely different top three. Kyle Bonnet, Sean Campbell, and Cohen Evans mixing up. Cohen drops back just a little bit as they head up the hill. We'll see if he can get in the draft. It looks like he will. 0.6 of a second back. He should get a little bit of a draft. But Sean Campbell thinking about a move. He shows the inside. We'll see if he can make it stick, Matt.
Yeah, down here to Lacombe. It looks like Sean's going to have the better line on the inside here. Kyle's definitely not going to give it up, though. These two had a little bit of an incident in the first race. Looks like Kyle maybe gets a little bit of the curb. Super loose coming out of the corner. Just able to hold on to second, but can't hold on to first. Sean Campbell, your new leader here after about 10 minutes in this race. Still 15 minutes to go. Long way. But Sean Campbell's definitely going to have a little bit of a sigh of relief after being able to get past Kyle Bonnet after their last race incident. But Cohen Evans, he sees a little bit of blood in the water. He sees Kyle Bonnet struggling a little bit, dealing with being overtaken. So Cohen Evans is definitely on the hunt right now. John?
Yeah, I had to wonder what exactly is going through Sean's hand, because as he ran into Blanchimont, he's sitting right on the bumper, but when you're sitting right there, you can't really get a good run. You don't have the space to start getting some speed before you have to get out of the draft and make the pass. So I think it was just he needed to set it up, and it was pretty much done. That's all I think it was missing, is this, if he was a bit further back, he could have gotten that draft and made a massive run. But let's see if Cohen Evans can make a move into the chicane this time around, as we stand on board, or sit on board with them as they come into Blanchimont. To you, Christian.
Yeah, most of these, so at least through Kemmel Straight into Lacombes and Malmedy, you want to be on the inside of those turns, on the right-hand side, because that's kind of where you end up on most of those insides. But if you're going to be talking about the chicane going through here and then onto the pitch straight, I believe you want to be on the left-hand side. You actually want to be on the outside when you head to the chicane, because I think that gives you the better line. But it all depends on how you want to take that as we pass through the pitch straight, coming into the first corner, and Kyle Bonnet getting pretty close to Sean Campbell there, but kind of still able to hold on. Jarrett?
Yeah, it is funny. You see that gap kind of grow over the course of a lap, but then we get in these long drafting portions. You can see the power of the Porsche being able to really close in that straight line. You see it right here, that under 0.4 of a second, now heading quickly under 3. So Kyle Bonnet's just got to stay close enough to make that attack on Sean, and I think he'll have a shot at it if he can stay there for the next 13 minutes. A lot easier said than done there, Matt.
Yeah, I thought Kyle Bonnet had a run there to actually make the pass on Sean, but couldn't quite hold on to it. But in the background, Hagen Johnson passes George Nimmer for fourth. As we keep looking at this battle for the lead here, Sean Campbell slowly pulling away. He's got a bit more grip in the middle technical sector as we ride on board with Cohen Evans going down to No Name. It's a really tricky corner, really easy to run wide on the exit. That red and white curbing is your track limit, so if you put your left side tires over that curbing, it's an off track for you. John?
I was looking through the chat. It looks like the retirement for Justin Roberts was because his VR headset died. So that's really unfortunate from him, but there's not much you can do from that. Looking at the battle for first, I believe when they went to the into La Source, Bonin was right behind Campbell. So I'm wondering if there is a setup difference that makes Bonin's car better, say under braking into those into the headed braking zones, but gets a lot more. Campbell has a stronger car throughout most of the rest of the lap, where you need that downforce, you need that straight line speed. Not too sure, but there's definitely a setup difference here.
Yeah, setups do a lot of difference, but they also have two different cars. I mean, you have two Porsches followed by, or I guess a Lamborghini followed by two Porsches. And Lamborghini, it's a completely different car than the Porsche. Although they are not made by the same company, they're still pretty, standard in how they kind of run. So I'm unsure of how Sean is liking this. Last season, I ran the Lamborghini essentially the entire time. I actually don't even think I owned the Porsche. But Lamborghini, a favorite of mine, definitely is able to handle the corners a bit better, is a little safer into the corners, but a little tighter sometimes versus the Porsche, a bit more loose. Jarrett?
Yeah, and we see it. Sean Campbell's kind of switch cars every single week, and with that rule in the CIL, if you switch manufacturers to go to the end of the line, that's why he has started in the back of the pack for every single race. But another good run, not only for Cohen Evans, but for Kyle Bonnet as well. We're going to go 2 wide, and Cohen maybe thinks about sending it 3 wide Cohen going to get on the tail end of Kyle, try and give him a little push on by Sean. Sean will back out of it. New leader heading toward Matt.
Yeah, great move by Kyle Bonin there. He just had the run, so much power coming from that draft. Really just gave him the speed to even pretty much clear Sean before they even got to the braking zone. But these two come back into Bruxelles where they had their little tango in the first race. Keeping it clean this time, but position is very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if I see these two maybe bumping wheels a little bit. It's not Formula One, it's not open wheel, so these cars can handle a little bit of contact, but not too much contact. John?
Yeah, you can really see how Sean tries to get past him by say through Brussels. He took to a really squared off line, running basically deep and trying to get a good exit, but because the run in the no name isn't so long, he's on the outside right now trying to make it through campus. He's gonna make the move. As I said with setup, I believe he's probably running a bit more downforce, so he doesn't have straight line speed, but in the corners he really makes it work, and we know that he can make it work. So we'll see if Bonin can get back him into the bus stop, but not too sure who I want to root for, a new winner or a person I predicted. To you, Christian.
Yeah, well, my winner's all the way down in 8th place now, Thomas Toomey, after he had a bit of an incident there. But yeah, Sean Campbell, Kyle Bonin, this is a pretty good kind of jump between the two leaders here, with Cohen Evans just kind of sitting in 3rd, watching it all happen, still with the fastest lap set with a 2:17.3, and he's keeping up with that with a 2:17.4. He's trying to stay there as their fuel tanks get lighter. We'll definitely see different cars take it, as we saw Sean take it on the last lap. For stage 1. Back to you, Jarrett.
And these three continuing to duke it on out, and you see the gap growing and shrinking, and right there, actually, turn 1, Sean Campbell opened it up from 0.4 of a second to 0.6 of a second. We've seen drivers kind of go up the hill at Eau Rouge at about 0.4 of a second, so we'll see if Bonin has enough to get there before he hits Matthew Nordberg, but down to 0.3 of a second and heading towards 2 as they head towards you, Mr. Nordberg.
Yeah, these guys are locked bumper to bumper. It looks like Cohen Evans giving a little look down the inside into the Lacombe on Kyle Bonin, but thinks better of it. Just giving him a little heads up that, hey, I'm here. I'm going to make a move eventually. Just need to wait my time. Looks like Sean Campbell getting a little loose on the exit of Lacombe there. Keeps it together, but they head into Bruxelles. Same order they went into it. Looks like Cohen Evans, though, is definitely catching up slightly closer to Kyle Bonin. Definitely smell a little bit of blood in the water. Kyle Bonin, he's kind of recovered a bit from being overtaken. Sean's pulling away. Cohen Evans, he sees his chance now. John?
Yeah, you can see how this gap is now so massive, but 0.4 separating Bonin and Evans. So we'll see if Evans can get a nice draft here to make a move and get in the second place and get on that second step of the podium. But it looks like he makes a mistake into the campus chicane. He's going to lose a lot of time. We'll see if Hagan Johnson can now take the position back, as he will have a slowdown. But there seems to be plenty of time. He's definitely going to keep this podium, but now it seems like this battle is pretty much set, and we have 13 minutes to go in this race, or 12 minutes to go. I'm not sure.
Yeah, 12 minutes left with 2 seconds between first and second, and another 2 seconds between second and third. That definitely costs Cohen Evans probably second place or even first place, depending on what happens with Kyle Bonin and Sean Campbell. Unless Kyle Bonin's able to catch back up to Sean Campbell, and if they do a repeat of last stage, Cohen Evans will be thoroughly ecstatic. But I don't see that coming because of the pretty big gap between Kyle and Sean here, as they kind of come around to turn 1, after Sean actually just sets a fastest sector through chicane. Jarrett?
Yeah, and the gap you need to be able to get the draft is right around 1.1 seconds. You might be able to sneak a little bit of that draft, and Kyle Bonin's kind of fallen out of that, so I expect the interval to grow here as he's not in that wake of the car in front of him. So I think he's kind of in no man's land, so to speak, where he's not going to be able to quite gain on Sean Campbell as much as he was, and he's got to kind of fend off Cohen Evans from behind. But you mentioned it, everyone kind of single filing on out, and as that happens, I was going to ask Matt what would have been your strategy if you're Kyle Bonin. Do you sit and wait, or do you try and get in front of Sean Campbell and play a little bit of defense?
I mean, especially at a track like this, Jarrett, that draft is so powerful. I don't know what Kyle was, going through when he was, as we see, it looks like Evan Puckett gets by Thomas Toomey, who might have a little bit of engine damage from an incident earlier. Looks like it was a bit easy for him on the Kimmel Straight. But as I was saying, I don't know what kind of speeds Kyle Bonner was or how he was feeling in the car going down Blanchimont. But if you could line up a pass in the draft down that back stretch towards Blanchimont and the bus stop chicane on that last lap, you could definitely pull a move off into the bus stop and try to pull the lead there and not give Sean Campbell another chance. But I think that chance is pretty much passed at this point, given that the gap Sean has pulled out is now up to nearly 3 seconds. It's currently sitting at 2.7. But closest battle in the field right now, Thomas Toomey and Evan Puckett. Maybe it was Thomas Toomey who got a slowdown. Not sure, but John, as they come to you.
I think it's Toomey has looks to have a lot of damage on his car. So I think in the straight line, Speedy doesn't have much. But comparing that to Evan Puckett, it seems like Toomey can really keep up with him through these twisty bits. I think he definitely has the pace to get past him, but being on the straight line, he just doesn't have the pace to get past him. He's still smelling his exhaust right now, so we'll see if I'm wrong as they head up into towards Blanchimont. But I think you could see it now. That gap is just increasing like mad. So I think it's going to just be a try to save as many positions as he can from bleeding away from him. It's like a sinking ship. Can you plug all the holes?
Kind of scary as we go through here. Turn 17. I was watching Thomas Toomey because I was hearing some chatter over the radio about how damaged Thomas's car was, and I look over and I see that the stream is now also on Thomas Toomey. We were on the back of, I believe, Evan Puckett. Watching Thomas Toomey and just the absolute disaster that the front of his car has become after he hit that wall. But three more retirements. We have Alexander Klenk, Evan Walters, believe right? Okay. Ethan Walters, excuse me, and Gavin Keithley have all retired. Jarrett?
Yeah, Kyle Wood and Andrew Williams also on pit road as well. Have not gotten out of the car yet, so they do have the option to hop back into this race if they so choose. But you see on the left side of your screen, single file with plenty of gap in between each of these drivers. With 2 laps to go, I do believe Sean Campbell will come and receive the white flag next time by, if intuition is correct. But Sean Campbell, Kyle Bonin, Cohen Evans, your top 3. Hagan Johnson holding on to that 4th spot. And let's ride on board with Ryan Whitlock again, one of our onboard drivers here tonight. You see the Alabama at Huntsville student with that special NASA paint scheme rolling around Spa here tonight. And I said it in pre-race, Ryan always kind of in that top 5, never really able to break into that top 3. And at Spa once again, another night of it as he's in 5th. Trying to chase down Hagan Johnson, who's about a second up the road. We'll see if he can do it, but he's only got 1 lap to do it, so a tall task here as the leaders head toward that start-finish stripe. Christian?
Yeah, as we head here through these turns, we're about to enter into our white flag as Sean Campbell passes through here that... Nope. Next time by, I believe we'll have our white flag as Sean goes through that finish line there. Yeah, they're all doing pretty well. Sean still holds, or actually Sean, I believe, I don't remember when that happened, but Sean was able to take the fastest lap here with a 2:17.209, followed by Kyle Bonin in second, who does not have the second fastest lap. I believe that goes to actually Cohen Evans with that 2:17.311 that he was not able to improve on since then. But we still have 1 lap to go since then, and let's see where we can go. Matt?
I'm not sure exactly if we concur. It looks like Matthew and Jarrett both think it's a white flag. I'm not quite sure, but
yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that Barney the Flagman waving that InnoVetted Labs white flag as Sean continues to pull out his gap over Kyle Bonin.
Yeah, well, we'll see. He got the InnoVetted Labs back in, but we'll see how it plays out. If looks like Ryan Whitlock is slowly catching the Hagan Johnson. So if it is the white flag, I'm not sure it can happen. But if there is 1 more, then maybe we can see a last lap battle.
Yeah, it looks like I think Ryan Whitlock's really been catching up. I think the gap in the previous lap was about 1.3 seconds, but As I looked away to the timing screens for a little bit and looked back at the battle, he's closed that gap down to just under, right around 8/10 of a second. But this is the last lap, so I don't know if he can get it done going down and toward Blanchimont and the bus stop. But that straight line speed in the Lamborghini hopefully could power him towards an overtake there. But Hagen Johnson pulling out a little bit of a gap towards this on this middle technical sector of Spa-Francorchamps.
As we currently go through turn 16 into these two sweeping left-handers going towards the chicane. If this is the last here chicane, Sean Campbell will definitely have this. There's about a 3-second gap between Sean Campbell, Kyle Bonin, and another 3-second gap between him and Cohen Evans. So I believe we have a 1-2-3 set already, unless we have. That is the checkered flag. So Jarrett.
Yeah,
Well,
Sean Campbell will be your
Sorry.
race winner. Kyle Bonham back behind him, and we watched Ryan Whitlock and Hagen Johnson battle to the line. Whitlock just needing one more lap. He will come away 5th. George Nimmer coming away 6th. Then Athena Leclerc, Evan Puckett, Nicholas Patnell are going to be your next 3 to the line here. About 1 second separating the 3 of them. So barring any last-minute debauchery or miracles, they will finish in that order, and they do. Thomas Toomey going to limp that University of Virginia car home, missing a good portion of the front end of that machine. He will finish 10th, and Austin DeLong going to round out our field here tonight. Matt?
Yeah, I think that was a pretty entertaining second race. A lot of action, kind of front loaded, but some drivers who didn't have necessarily the greatest first race kind of pulled it out towards the second race. Athena Leclerc, I know she was down a bit lower in the first race, really pulled it together for a good solid finish. I think it was 8th place in the end for Athena Leclerc. So overall, a good night for some of the drivers who maybe didn't have the best first race, but the second race was definitely their chance to shine.
Yeah, and one of those drivers joining us in the booth now, Kyle Bonin. Do you got a copy from us up in the booth?
Yep, I got you.
All right, Kyle. So we saw you and Sean really battle quite a bit, and it looked like your car was faster in the straight line. Take us through the setup you had here tonight and walk us through how you were able to continue to close on Sean lap after lap.
So I actually used the setup that I had from last season, Spa at the end of last season, and then just spent quite a while modifying it to the new, I guess, build for the GT3s. It still isn't as great as I'd want it to be in the corners, but I was honestly kind of surprised at how much I would like pull on Sean in the straight line. And I'm pretty sure we're both running max swing, so that just must be an aero thing, car to car. But overall, I was pretty happy with the setup. Like I said, a little understeer, but that just means it was stable and able to keep a clean race.
Yeah, some really good performance tonight. I was just going to wonder. I believe you were involved in the incident with Sean Campbell. Is that correct on the first race? Correct?
Yes, yeah, it was.
Yeah. Do you have any thoughts on that, or are you pretty content with it being a racing incident?
I don't know. I think I could chalk it up to a racing incident. But I know he kind of stuck his nose in a little bit there. And that was just me dealing with understeer where I kind of washed out, and by the time it crept back up, the car kind of caved in. So yeah, a little bit of a racing incident, but I'm also just not gonna give like an easy give there. Basically. So yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
it was a. Oh, apologies about that. Go for it, Matthew.
Yeah, Kyle, I was just about to say, a great race from you, man. You really put on a show for us tonight, but I think you started at the front for the first race. 3 Clemson cars filling up the first 3 spots on the grid. What kind of impact is having your teammates around you do for that kind of race where, maybe Sean Campbell or someone who's really fast is coming from the back? And are you working together, or are you just racing, each man for themselves?
So prior we were, or at least the Clemson Formula SAE drivers were kind of doing this thing solo. But recently we just decided to work more together. And during that race, we were actually in a voice call talking about our positions and where we could potentially pass each other if we were faster. So it actually was nice this race to have teammates out there with me that I can actually coordinate with in order to, I guess, maximize the pace of all of us.
Yeah, well, that's just great to hear that you're working with your teammates now and really bringing together that university team aspect. So before we send you on your way, you have anyone you want to shout out? Anyone you'd like to thank?
Yeah. So shout out to all the Clemson drivers, especially Hagen, Andrew, and Justin that were with me and helping me through that race. Shout out to my family, who I'm pretty sure is watching this, and then shout out to you guys for putting this on. I'm really, really loving this season with what we changed with how the races are run. So keep it up. Great work.
Yeah, man, that's great to hear. And good race tonight. And congrats on your podium finish in race 2.
Yeah. Thank you.
So it was Kyle Bonin, our second place finisher here tonight. Shout out to all his friends and family watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did watching him mix it up with Sean Campbell. We mentioned at the top of the broadcast he was 6 points away at Sean Campbell at 1 point. So Kyle Bonin definitely has the pace to be able to challenge for that top spot. Next into the booth is our third place finisher here in race number 2, and he had a front row seat to that battle between Bonin and Campbell all night long. It's Cohen Evans for IUPUI joining us. And Cohen, walk us through kind of that battle, wanting to stick your nose in there, but also knowing at the same time maybe patience is key. How do you manage that of wanting to get to the racing, but also sitting back and kind of gaining information on the drivers in front of you? Cohen, you got us up here?
Uh-oh.
Trying to get Cohen Evans back into the booth. We'll see if we can get him back here momentarily. Cohen, this is Jared up in the booth. You got us? Maybe a little technical difficulty going down in the number 17 car. We'll see if we can get him here momentarily. We'll try it one more time. Cohen, you got a copy?
Oh, yes, I do.
There he is. All right.
Mike came unplugged.
So I'll ask you again. How are you able to manage the race being behind two guys like Sean Campbell, Kyle Bonin, kind of watching them battle, especially on these long straights where you can pull right up behind them? And where do you pick and choose your battles? How do you go about that over the course of a 25-minute race here?
Well, second race, I was just trying to be patient. I was pretty sure Kyle was just drafting off Sean, so I didn't want to try to pass him too early because he could just pass me right back. Sean was right there, so I thought there's no point right now. I was gonna try to wait for Sean to pull off into the distance, and then maybe me and Kyle could go at it with each other. But as soon as I saw Sean start to make a gap, I started pushing and pushed a bit too hard and lost it. So too bad there.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that, but you kind of answered my question there with that loss, that grip or loss of grip there through that. I believe that was turn 12 and 13. But yeah, how was? I mean, you were kind of just sitting there. I mean, were you hoping that Sean and Kyle would kind of do a stage 1 again and kind of rip each other out, and you'd be able to take P1, or were you kind of waiting for a later kind of minute in the race? Maybe they would kind of hold it together and you could just kind of fly by both of them with that draft.
Well, I'm always hoping they take each other out, but I know that's all not going to happen. So my entire plan was to try to wait so just me and Kyle could battle it out since Sean wasn't in the picture, but obviously I can't do that when I spin before that can happen.
Yeah, I mean that can happen to anyone. So no worries there. You had a great race and a fantastic one at that. John?
Yeah, certainly. I could tell that during the race you definitely you weren't as aggressive as it could be, but you saw the wreck. I was wondering, was there any sort of performance deficit through the race? Did you have any damage or tire degradation that might have hindered you from being able to challenge towards the end of the race?
No, the car was fine. I think my setup was a little, I don't know, messed up. Every time I got on the throttle too early, it seemed like the back end wanted to kick out. So I was super patient trying to get back on throttle. And I feel like that hurt me in a couple corners trying to like get that extra jump.
All right, well, thank you. I hope you have a nice day, and thank you for the wonderful P3 performance today.
Yep, thank you.
Cohen, before we send you on your way, anyone you want to give a shout out to here on the broadcast?
Sorry.
Shout out, Sean doing good like he always does. Kyle for having a good race, staying clean there at the end. And lastly, I'd like to shout out my brother. He's pitching in his senior year at high school before he goes off to college. Pitching tonight.
All right. Well, wish him best of luck from all the CIL here up here in the booth at the very least, and hope you go enjoy that and enjoy this P3 finish here tonight.
Yep, sure will.
So that was Cohen Evans, our third place finisher for IUPUI. Really one of my favorite paint schemes throughout the field, and I know it hasn't really changed all that much in the past year and a half of CIL, and that's what I like about it. It's a classic. You recognize it on the track, and John Price has coined him the Silent Assassin. Once again, Cohen Evans quietly finishing third, stays out of trouble, and a great finish for IUPUI. So let's take a look at your final finishing order for race number 2 of the night on your screen now. For week 6 out of 7, race 2 of the night, Sean Campbell coming away your winner. Good pick right there, John. Kyle Bonin from Clemson in second. Cohen Evans in third. Hagan Johnson from Clemson comes away fourth. Ryan Whitlock with our onboard camera in fifth. George Nimmer from Southern Illinois in sixth. Athena LeClaire from St. Clair College in seventh. Evan Puckett from Ball State in eighth. Nicholas Patnella from Robert Morris in ninth. Thomas Toomey from Virginia in 10th. Austin DeLong from the Penn College of Technology finishes on the lead lap in 11th. Gavin Keithley from Minnesota Twin Cities 4 laps down in 12th. Kyle Wood from Ball State University finishing 13th. Andrew Williams, another Clemson driver, in 14th. Ethan Walters from Ohio State in 15th. Alex Clank from WPI in 16th. And Justin Roberts rounding out your field 11 laps down in 17th. So, guys, as we finish this one up, a lot to talk about, but also a lot of more of the same. Kyle Bond and Sean Campbell right up there at the front, but we saw definitely a wild mix-up there in race number 1. Matt?
Yeah, I think I was surprised in race 2 by how much more attrition there was compared to race 1. I think race 1, everybody was playing a bit more fair, maybe except Kyle Bond and Sean Campbell at the front. But for the most part, race 1, I thought it was much cleaner than I thought it was going to be. I think the field tonight wasn't as big as a lot of people were thinking. So maybe some of the drivers who don't normally get top 10, top 5s would be taking advantage of that. But I'm really surprised that we didn't see more attrition in race 1 compared to race 2. John?
Yeah, certainly. Race 2 did have a lot of retirements. I was going to kind of joke that if the amount of attrition that was in race 2 was in race 1, we would have had a person on pole who didn't finish race 1, which would have been kind of funny. But I think we could tell both in race 1 with the incident that it's that these drivers are certainly not trying to just play safe for the whole time. At least for Sean Campbell and Bonin, they really do. They do want to get those points, and I think especially with Sean, because he takes the EOL anyway, both in race 1 and race 2, that he's just going to keep going. If he wants first in both the races, he's going to try to go and get it. So there's nothing that's going to go stop him, but there's going to be people in the way, and you kind of have to drive around them.
Yeah, sadly, Sean Campbell is not going to be visiting us up here tonight in the booth for an interview. But I have to feel kind of partly responsible if this is a thing. Commentators curse if this is a thing. I feel partly responsible for Thomas Toomey and how he's kind of just gotten shunted in the past few races between oval and road. I mean, he just ends up having some bad luck with different drivers and such. So I'm really excited for him to possibly end up with a really good race, because both races, I mean, top three at some point, even top two, I believe, or actually second race he was up P1 for a hot minute there. So I'm definitely excited to see him have a fast rate or a good race here. Because I definitely think there's quite a few people who are up there with Sean Campbell, Kyle Bonin, and Cohen Evans, who can really make some interesting races as long as they have kind of a good race and are pretty lucky. So yeah, Jarrett, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much nailed it. It comes down to ultimately driver skill, but there is some variance of luck that happens in these races, and that's what makes it so fun. Why we have that kind of parity that we have in race number 1, and mix it up through the midfield in race number 2, and week in and week out we have it. And I continue to be impressed with these GT3 cars and these packs we end up getting. We saw it for 3-4 laps here at Spa, which are not short laps, of these cars all grouped together, looking almost like a super speedway on the oval with how tightly they were knit together. And that was a lot of fun to see here tonight. But if you want more CIL action, be sure to tune in 7 days' time as we head to Charlotte on the oval side. So the Prospect Series on Monday, the Premier Series on Tuesday, and that should be a good one for the Charlotte night race under the lights there at Charlotte. And if you want more road action, you want to see if anyone can knock off Sean Campbell in the road finale, we head down to Brazil and we go to Interlagos in 14 days time, same place, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on the CIL network. So for all of us here up in the booth, for Michael and the rest of our stewards here tonight, and all the guys on track, thank you for joining. Hope you guys enjoyed that as much as we did, and we hope to see you again soon. Good night, everybody.